my time, and this is a fucking business. Why I'm a grown-ass adult man and I decide not to be friends with somebody is nobody else's fucking business. But my friends, if I fall backwards, will catch me. Scott Colton, I felt, never would have. My problem was I wanted to bring a guy with me to the top that did not want to see me at the top. Okay? You call it jealousy, you call it envy, whatever the fuck it is. My relationship with Scott Colton ended long before I paid all of his bills. I have every receipt. I have every invoice. I have every email. I have the email where he says, and I quote, "I agree to go our separate ways. I will get my own lawyer and you do not have to pay anymore." That's an email that I have. The only reason the public did not see is because when I finally had to countersue him through discovery, we discovered he shared a bank account with his mother. That's a fact. And as soon as we discovered that fact and we subpoenaed old Marcia, he sent the email, "Oh, can we please drop all this?" Now, it's 2022. I haven't been friends with this guy since at least 2014, late 2013. And the fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs and couldn't fucking manage a target, and they spread lies and bullshit and put into a media that I got somebody fired when I have fuck all to do with him. Want nothing to do with him. Do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. And the fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022 is fucking embarrassing. And if y'all are at fault, fuck you. If you're not, I apologize. But what did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed fucking dumb fuck like Hangman Adam Page to go out on national television and fucking go into business for himself? For what? What did I do? Dave, what did I ever do? Didn't do a goddamn thing.
That you just saw could be the destruction of AEW as you know it. I don't think that's hyperbole. I'm Mike Ginn. That's Dan Bakley. This is Slamtown, the show where we debate a subject until it's done. Today, it's CM Punk versus the Elite. Dan, I almost made our intro be like me, the Elite, you CM Punk, because I feel like
don't do that.
We're going to be on different sides of this one today. But before we do get in the show, make sure you check out FightersFirst.shop. Get all the latest merch. You see the shop. I can't even talk. CM Punk's got me so messed up in the head, Dan, I can't even talk. But you see the shirts below us. Go ahead and support the show, support the brand. FightersFirst.shop. And, of course, we got the brand new Ivan Koloff collection in there. 37-time champion, the guy who ended Bruno's over 7-year, almost 8-year streak. Ivan Koloff, the Russian Bear. So check that out. His whole story is there on Fighters First. Yeah, and how you feeling today? You ready to get into this one?
Oh, yeah. I got a lot to talk about.
I bet we do. I think the whole world's been going hellfire and brimstone after this one. And that's the worst part, right? Of course, we're talking about CM Punk and the Elite getting in a fight in the locker room afterwards. Not a rumor. It happened. Even the top legal chief, the lady who runs the legal side of AEW, witnessed it. Several producers, the Elite, CM Punk, all suspended. We'll talk about that in a second. But Dan, how sad is it that they had their epic pay-per-view of the year, All Out, which, by the way, 5 hours long. Talk about that. AEW All Out happens. New world champion, new trios champions, new women's champion. All this stuff happens, and nobody's talking about. MJF comes back. Nobody's talking about that. What are your thoughts, Dan?
It's just sad. It's a sad situation because, just like you said, you had new champions crown. You had probably one of the match of the years in the Acclaimed and Swerve and Lee, and they should get all the talk that they should because that match was amazing. Everybody was invested into it, even though the Acclaim lost their white hot. But no, now you're talking about this because of a guy going into business for himself. and doing something that he could have done on his own time instead of on an AEW post pay-per-view media.
Which is supposed to be
scrum.
kayfabe, right? You're supposed to be still kind of in character.
Yeah. It's just sad. Like he kind of ruined a good pay-per-view just because he wanted to do what he wanted to do.
And what did you think was going to happen? You were going to sit there and run down all these people in a post-press conference, and they're not going to come talk to you about it? Like, you just think you're, like, bulletproof? Like, you got your locker room, and then nobody else is supposed to come in there except for Ace Steel and your dog? Like, and Ace's wife? Like, come on. Like, you know what you did. And in those comments, you just saw, he said, if you got a problem with it, come see me. That's what he said.
He said, I could be walking down in the hall. Come up to me. I'll talk to you.
No, that's not how he said it. He said, you got a problem, you come see me. Meaning, like, come fight me.
Like, just walking, like, I'm CM Punk, blah, blah, blah. Boom. Like, that's not what happened here. Like, he wasn't all about the talk when it comes to showing up right away at his, of course, his room.
Man, first of all, there's multiple versions of the story, but pretty much how it works out. Matt, Nick, and Kenny go in the locker room, whether they kicked down the door or walked in the door like they said. CM Punk didn't waste any time before Matt could even get a word out of his mouth. CM Punk threw a few punches at him. Ace came running in with a chair and threw it at Nick's face. Whether it hit his eye or his face, I guess we'll see when we see Nick post any pictures anytime soon. And then poor Kenny. Kenny was essentially, from all accounts, he either tried to save the dog and move the dog to like Ace's wife first, and then come back in to try to break things up. And as he's breaking things up, Ace Steel bites him. Like, what? And pulls Kenny's hair. And for all purposes, all of them get suspended, which is kind of crazy because I don't think everybody involved was trying to instigate it. Like, it was evidently like a 6-7 minute thing. And I think half the people were trying to break it up. So, look, I've said this online. I'll say it here. Tony Khan is a mark. MJF was right. He is a mark. He was sitting there up on that stage as CM Punk was running down every single person. And Tony was like, yeah, I agree with that. Yes. Oh, Adam Page went into business for himself. So I gave him a receipt. Yeah. Tony's like, yeah, you got to be professional. And Tony Khan says, yeah, the whole time, right? Watch that 2-minute clip you just saw. Whole time, Tony Khan's going, yeah. Now he wants to suspend people. Tony Khan, the same guy that when MJF originally went off, whether it was a work or shoot, no matter, no comment. Malachi Black wants his release. No comment. Sister has a comment on every single thing in the world. Oh, WWE hurt my feelings because they don't show the same love I show them. But hey, here's something out that's negative. No comment. Opening of Dynamite last night. Great show. After everything that happened, Dynamite was fantastic. Also, no surprise they didn't let Max rap last night. Like, Swerve came out and interrupted Max real quick when he was at the mic because you never know. Because Tony lets him say what he wants to say.
And he has the new silver mic now too.
Yeah, but he did not get to use it last night. They cut him off real quick. Swerve was like, nobody wants to hear you say anything. I know that was Tony, but like, get your ass out there. Stop him now. But we'll get to that. But look, all that said, all these people suspended, all because CM Punk went into business for himself. Tony Khan is a fucking mark. And there might be a few F-bombs to drop on this one once I get more animated and woken up because we're recording this one early in the day. Look, Tony could have stopped that shit while he was saying it. He could have been like, yo, but no. He let his little golden cow, his little multi-million-dollar baby, just run off at the mic. Because that's what CM Punk does nowadays, right? He runs off at the mic and then he cuts himself during matches so he can bleed. That's what CM Punk does now. And a lot of people were mad that he won the title back so quickly from Moxley because, I re-injured my foot 11 days ago, and now all of a sudden, I'm all pumped up. Ace Steel smacked me in the face. I'm ready to go to Chicago. We are Chicago. And what happened? He goes, he gets his ass kicked 95% of the match. and then hits 2 go to sleeps, and all of a sudden he wins. And okay, cool. This is wrestling. I've seen that story before. Hell, Brock Lesnar beat the shit out of Roman Reigns for 95% of that match back at SummerSlam, and Roman won, right? It happens. It's kind of a thing.
And shocker, CM Punk is hurt again.
Yeah. And in that match, early on, evidently, he tore his pec. So he's out for a while, regardless of whatever happens.
Yeah.
So we know what happened, right? Essentially, we know what happened. And we know that All Out was a fantastic show, albeit very, very long. I guess the reason why they split WrestleMania up into 2 nights, so they didn't have these forever shows. And I think All Out's going to have to kind of maybe go the same way and maybe do like a Saturday, Sunday, because you see it when they do some of their like Bash at the Beaches or whatever else they do. They split it between like different Wednesdays, right? Like part 1, part 2. Look, if you got a roster that big, and we talked about that ad nauseum on different shows, you want to put everybody on a show, that's fine. You got to give them a spot. Very few people have the attention span to go from 7 o'clock to midnight, albeit on a Labor Day weekend, but on a Sunday, that was a lot. And I think by the time the main event came, I think most people were tuned out anyway, from what I saw online. But that's about All Out. What we're talking about is CM Punk basically trying to destroy AEW. Now, do I think he'll destroy AEW? No. I think the ship will keep on moving, whether he's there or not. Will he be out for a long time? Yeah, because he's hurt. Like Dan just said, he's hurt. But 2 things. One, the suspensions, I think, are a joke, because locker room fights in wrestling have been going on since the days of the beginning of time. Like, it's not a new thing. It's just we have media now that we can see everything, and these are all multi-conglomerate companies. So I believe AEW is still private, right, Dan?
Yes, they're still private.
Yeah, so they can do what they want, but the truth is they do have to answer to television networks. They have to answer to advertisers and sponsors. So suspension, kind of like how Eddie Kingston got sat down for a couple of weeks for facepalming Sammy Guevara, that's fine. But people have talked about, will CM Punk be fired? And as of this show right now, he has not been. They still haven't, I don't think, decided. But
they basically told him take the suspension or releasing you. That's
allegedly.
What they told him. Yeah.
Allegedly. Because, I mean, all this is alleged. We haven't heard Punk say anything. I haven't heard Tony say anything. Tony,
we're not going to hear Punk say anything for the next 3 months.
And then it'll probably be something about hockey.
Yeah.
But AEW, even when they opened up and vacated the titles, which, by the way, we just had a tournament for the world title that Mox won and became interim and then became real, whatever.
Same situation. CM Punk got hurt.
Yeah.
And then you had to have,
just had a trios tournament, so thankfully they opened up and just did a match for the new trios title.
Yeah.
They didn't waste time on the new tournament. By the way, fantastic match with the Best Friends and Death Triangle. I love anything Penta does. And Penta and Orange Cassidy in the beginning was money. I love it. He took the glove off. He was like, and then all Cassidy did was glasses, pocket. He went to go do the pocket, and Penta smacked the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I love Penta. But what I was saying, and I'm coming back to you, Dan, on this, is that Tony is a fucking mark. First of all, because like he's sitting there and he won't talk about the tough stuff, but all he wants to do is talk about the good stuff. He won't. First of all, you can't fire CM Punk. You fire CM Punk, he walks into WWE tomorrow, if nothing else, to stick it to you, does a part-time schedule, and probably makes $5 million. Because now Hunter's in charge, and even though Hunter doesn't like CM Punk one bit, just like Vince, they do what's best for business. And that 100% would be a best for business move, because it would basically stick it to AEW hard. And Punk wouldn't even have to work a full-time schedule. We know this. Same thing if the Elite got fired. You know damn well WWE would have them in that next Monday or SmackDown, or Friday. Just to stick it to them. Just because they can. And Triple H is very big right now on letting people keep their rights, let people keep their names, let people keep doing all this stuff. And we'll talk about Triple H next week, because that was going to be this show this week until all this shit happened about the changes in WWE and how the evolution of it. So stay tuned next week. But Dan, I want to ask you this: the consequences for what happened, are they just? Are they stupid? Are they irrelevant?
With me, with the whole media scrum issue with that, I felt like it was fine that Tony didn't say anything. He just let Punk say what he had to say and finish.
I think he could have not said anything, but he kept going, yeah. Like he kept saying yes.
Well, that's his he does that with everything. So that's his version of not saying anything. But then you want to say something to him when you get in the back, which I assume he probably did.
Well, he didn't go to the back later because they were doing scrums.
Yeah, so he had to finish it. So it kind of kept him from doing it right away.
Because he was with Swerve and Keith Lee when it happened.
Yeah, and then if you watch, after Jericho finishes his, he gets up and whispers to Tony, "We have an issue."
Shit went down, yeah.
Yeah. So that's when he first found out of the whole scrum. With the whole scrum, like I think it's justified. If you're gonna suspend Kingston for a couple weeks, you gotta suspend these guys. That's probably why they dropped the titles off of them, because it's probably gonna be a while. It'll probably be a month. And CM Punk's injured, so he was gonna probably drop the title anyway. But Jericho said the perfect thing in his media. He was like, "You want to keep everything in house, and don't go into business for yourself." Like, be a
he said that
player.
would never happen under Vince.
Yeah. And what happened? CM Punk did everything the complete opposite. It aired out his own dirty laundry, which, hint, he's the one who brought it up, not the media. So he's sitting here blaming the media.
Well, in fairness, the media has been peppering about Colt Cabana for a while.
Yeah, they have, but he came across like Colt Cabana has been saying stuff, which he hasn't.
He said a word.
So it's like he must have had a guilty conscience to want to bring it up.
Well, he thinks the Elite leaked all that stuff to the media.
Yeah, which it just came out that
they did or not, but
yeah. And so he brought it up, and he was just going in and in on everybody, and it's just like, dude, this is something you can do in the back. This is something you can do with the cameras off. You did it for the attention.
100%.
That's what you did.
He's a narcissist.
Yeah, and you're the champion. You're trying to make yourself look even better, and you're trying to make them look bad because you're on camera right now, and you're doing it, and it just backfired in his face. I think they're justified in front of him about it. And then whether they stormed the door or they're there to just talk to him, he's the one that said, "If you have issues, come see me. Come see me."
And there's no question he threw the first punch. No question.
Yeah, no question with that. And then, of course, Ace Steel, who's been
too bad he couldn't fight like that in the UFC, right?
Yeah, who's been all but one week there, goes and bites Kenny Omega, who's saving his dog, getting the dog out of Dodge, out of the scrum. So now all the people that were, I can only assume it's everybody that was in that room. That's what they just did. They were like, okay, you.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, because I was sitting there like, what Christopher Daniels did? Like,
you. Oh, Ace Steel's wife. Okay, let me hire you so I can suspend you. But that's basically what happened. I'm like, okay, you know,
taking away your backstage pass because you were there.
Yeah. Eddie Kingston, he got suspended for 3 weeks, but apparently, which I love, is the fact that Eddie Kingston, when he got suspended, he put out a presser, apologized, said that he has to be more accountable. He manned up. Sammy. And then he also did indie dates during that time, and all the money that he made off of those indie the dates, he donated to charity, all of it, 100% of it. And I thought that that's a guy that knows that he was wrong and admitted to being wrong, and then made a good thing out of a bad situation. And you're not going to get this from CM Punk. I know that. I know Kenny and the Young Bucks, they'll probably do something when they come back just to say sorry.
I'm shocked the Young Bucks haven't changed their bio yet.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do anything for a little while. I could see them doing like a pop-up indie show. Do one pop-up indie show just to do it. Or Japan during the time that they're out. But I think it was justifiable. My thing would, like, I was with you. Tony Khan has done a lot of questionable things in the past few months, like booking wise, just in general. But like, I was on the side where I'm like, I'm gonna wait and see what he does, and I'm gonna see if Tony Khan does right by the fans and by the company and the wrestlers that are there that have to deal with this, or is he gonna mess up again? And I felt like suspending them and then put on a great show. I think he did right by that. He made the right move. He didn't do anything right away, which would have been harsh or just irresponsible. He waited until he heard everything. He had everybody give him the facts, and then he suspended them, dropped the titles, and then changed storylines. Hey, it might work out because, like we said, to me that was one of the best dynamites they've ever put down. And the building,
which is funny because Tony wasn't there.
Yeah, and
he's still in Chicago.
Yeah, and he's building a young talent. So it's like it might be a blessing in disguise for some people.
I would love to know who ran that show. I'm guessing QT Marshall, but I would love to know who ran that show because Tony wasn't there.
Yeah, it was probably Tony had the blueprint,
the script,
and then and then they just ran from it. But WWE. This is why they didn't re-sign him back when he was with Backstage. It came out that they wanted to bring him back, but then WWE.
Well, he wanted too much money. He was like, WWE, some godly amount, and they were like, no.
And then WWE didn't want to deal with this personality.
Nobody did. They just wanted to make money off of him.
Yeah, and if you kind of look at the lineup of when he joined AEW to now. AEW was clicking before they got him. They get
How big of a self-destruction, right? Like,
yeah. And now
let me transition. Let me transition you to this. How big of a self-destruction that 1 year ago, a little over a year ago, he returned to one of the most epic, best wrestling moments you've ever seen on TV. To not even 1 year, or just a little over 1 year later, now he's like the heel of the business, like to the point where everyone's turning against him. Where 1 year ago, everybody wanted, oh my God, CM Punk is back. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I was one of them. I was like, I enjoyed the moment. I thought it was huge. I've never been a huge CM Punk fan, but the moment was there. And for him to ruin that in 1 year.
Exactly. But because he just lets things get to him and he's not professional about it. He doesn't do it behind the locker room like we can all say what we want about Chris Jericho. Is he washed up now? Is he past his prime? Whatever we want to say. Leader. But just like that, he's a locker room leader.
He said it on Dynamite last night. He's like, "It's my locker room."
Yeah,
and he didn't say that. He wasn't saying that to the angle. He was saying that to CM Punk.
Exactly, and I caught that, and I was going to mention that, and I'm like, he knows what it's like, and he's the guy that Tony Khan should trust with the stuff like that.
I think he does. In the back, he's the leader when it comes to meetings and all talent. I think Jericho's always the guy.
And then apparently they had a meeting right before Dynamite, and it's ran by him, Moxley, and Danielson, which is good. You want to show like a united front. You want to get this behind you, and you want to get all the wrestlers on the same page with the company, and that's what it seems like happened. You did the right thing. You suspended them. Hopefully they come back and they address the issue. That's the first thing I think they need to do. Address the elephant in the room, which is the suspension. Apologize, and then go from there. I think with the Kenny Young Bucks, it's not going to be that huge of an issue because what did they really do? They were confronting an issue, and he attacked them first. So they're just going to be. They'll probably just have to apologize.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people talking about that they're going to walk or whatever.
They're going nowhere.
They're the EVPs, and despite people's opinions on their style of wrestling or their characters or whatever they want to say, Cody, the Bucks, and Omega started this company, and Jericho too. They started this company, and they built this company on their backs. If they leave, AEW can keep existing, but let's believe that fan base that they brought with them to start the company will jump ship.
Yeah. So unless they actually would have done something major, then that would have warranted it. That's one thing, but they didn't really do anything other than confront CM Punk about what he said, and then he swung first, and that's when everything happened. So they're going to be given more leniency with everything. Whereas CM Punk, that guy has to do a lot. Like, he's going to be suspended probably for a while. He has the turn pec, so he's going to have to get it fixed. So he's probably not going to be around for a while anyway. So now it's just going to be a thing where he stays away for a while. And when he does, in fact, come back, if he accepts the suspension and doesn't walk, then he's got a lot of apologizing to do, a lot of changing, and he's going to have to do a lot just to get the.
He's not going to change. And I want to talk about two things before we get out of here today. I know we're kind of dragging on about this. One, going into business for yourself, right? We'll talk about that. And then we'll talk about the aftermath with Dynamite, MJF, and some of the stories getting kind of haywire. First of all, going into business for yourself, right? CM Punk can talk about how Adam Page went into business for himself during a promo. But name one promo that CM Punk hasn't gone into business for himself, calling Eddie fat and lazy, calling Moxley not the best John he's wrestled, Eddie not the best Eddie he's wrestled. Every promo CM Punk does to generate buzz is going into business for himself. Whether the opponent knows it's coming or not, who knows? Moxley genuinely see tongue-tied before they fought the first time when he cut that promo about not being the best John, not being the best Eddie, and not being the best blah, blah, blah. And Moxley just genuinely came out not knowing what the hell to say back to him. And it was a horrible promo by Moxley because I think he was caught so off guard by CM Punk going so off script, starting off with challenging Adam Page, who was at the time, I think, doing something with Dark Order in the back, not even knowing what was going on camera. Whereas at least when Adam Page went into business for himself, he was right in front of CM Punk.
Yeah.
And trying to build an angle for a world title match that really didn't make any sense at the time. But CM Punk's the outsider. So Adam Page called him an outsider and basically said, hey, I'm the locker room guy. You're the guy nobody likes. And guess what? It's probably true. Eddie Kingston said as much after this whole thing happened. He's like, are you surprised? That's the MO. That's what this guy does. He's a cancer in the locker room. That's why I don't like him. That's why I don't fuck with him. People all over the world are saying the same thing. Some people are more politically correct, like Chris Jericho, and he's like, stuff happens. And I'm the first to tell you this. I said this at the beginning of the show. Locker room fights aren't new in professional wrestling. Not WWF, not WWE. Hell, Brett and Vince want to get famous in WWE. This shit happens. And it happens on a grand scale because these are real people with real testosterone flowing. And shit happens. It's no different if we're in high school and somebody calls you a name. Guess what? When the testosterone's flowing, especially probably, half of them are probably drunk at that point. Not CM Punk, obviously, Mr. Straight Edge. But, all these people are sitting there having a good time, enjoying themselves. Guess what? Shit's going to happen. And for Tony Khan to even... Honestly, I think Tony, the best thing he could have been said was make them both sit down in a room and work it out. Yeah. And then let's go to Dynamite and move about our business. Suspending people, that seem to me like childish. Like, I don't know how to fix this, so I'm just going to suspend them. Sit their asses at a table, Tony. Say, this is your beef. This is your beef. Let's work it out. And let's move forward with business. We're not children anymore. We don't need to be separated and sent home. This is business. And Tony Khan just did this great trios tournament for what? Just to throw it away? Now that the Bucks and Omega won. Now all of a sudden, what? We're not going to see the aftermath of that? Just did a whole world title tournament only to have it ruined by basically letting CM Punk have his way. Because he basically just babied CM Punk. Let Moxley have the world title officially just to have him lose it officially 11 days later. All that stuff basically comes back to the narcissistic attitude and going into business for himself of CM Punk. CM Punk has Tony wrapped around his finger. Tony was never going to fire CM Punk. Let's just stop the bullshit. If he makes MJF sit out his contract, even if he's mad as hell at CM Punk, he's going to make him sit out his contract. That seems to be what Tony does. Tony doesn't like confrontation. He doesn't like it in dealing with any of the media for Jacksonville Jaguars. When they talk about the losing, Tony always deflects it to somebody else, but yet he wants credit as being one of the owners and like executives. When his soccer team, Fulham, was struggling, Tony always would deflect the questions about that. But when they won, all of a sudden, Tony's like, look at my club. Look how great I'm doing. That's what Tony does. He's a young kid. I think he's still like his early 30s. He's a young kid who just wants to brag. He won 1/4 segment against SmackDown going head-to-head in one demographic. One out of like 80 demographics, he won one and bragged about it nonstop like I beat SmackDown head-to-head. No, Tony, you didn't. SmackDown crushed you in every other demographic. And on top of that, SmackDown, despite how great All Out was in Chicago, selling what? I think they had a sellout of like 20,000 or something like that, Dan?
I think a little bit more.
A little bit more? I mean, it was in what? The United Center, right?
No, it was in the Now Center.
The All-State one? They changed the name of it? So that, I think that holds 18,000. Yeah. So I'll give them 25. I'll throw it up 25. WWE just sold out Cardiff with over 62,000 people. There's a difference in this game. And I know Jericho wants to defend how they beat NXT, which was a third brand. Yeah, it was a third brand. It's still developmental. Triple H wasn't wrong. It's still developmental. It's still
but they don't. But they weren't considering a developmental. They
absolutely were. Third brand. I mean, they were still developmental. I mean, look at the people they have on the roster.
I disagree with that because you can't change the narrative after it happened. You can't say this is our third brand, but then when you lose,
wasn't it though?
Well, it was a third brand. It was a third brand.
It wasn't Raw.
To me, if it's developmental, it wouldn't be on TV. And
I think that's what they do best is that they let them develop in front of the cameras.
And it was at its best when it was on the network and they had it on for an hour.
Yeah.
Because it was truly developmental. But this is just a way of making money, and they kept it on TV because what are they going to do? Just pull it off of TV? But no, when they lost, this was the way, WWE's way of deflecting and be like, okay, it's developmental. When in fact, it was the third brand.
I mean, that was always the goal of it to be developed. Whether they got too big for their britches or not is a whole other subject. But at the same time, it was internally always looked at as developmental. And even Triple H said in his interview with Ariel, those changes were happening whether he was there or not about going back to more of a development. And I believe him. I don't think it had anything to do with AEW. I don't think WWE looks at AEW as competition. I don't think they ever have.
I don't think Vince ever did, but I do think Triple H does. And if he doesn't say it, then he's lying because he wouldn't be doing what he does if he didn't see them as.
I think he was doing all that before AEW ever existed, though.
But if you look at the roster, they didn't have guys that they were just grooming up. They had indie wrestlers. That's what Triple H was signed at the time. Now it's a little different because they have athletes that they're developing in, kind of like the old days where they're developing into what they want them to be. So it is truly developmental, in my opinion.
Well, so that brings me to the other subject about going in for business for yourself. CM Punk started all that really in every promo he's ever done. But transitioning to what happens afterwards, there's two things that bother me. One, AEW can never really be competition until they go head-to-head with WWE's big shows. First of all, like that's a separate subject. But until they go head-to-head with Raw or SmackDown, at least one of them, they're not. They're just a different brand. They're just a different show, just like Impact, just like everything else. They're just way more successful. They're doing a very good thing. They're doing their job and running their race very well. I love AEW. I love what they're doing. I have criticisms, but guess what? If you can't criticize something if nobody's watching it, right? If people have criticisms, that means they're watching the show. They're interested in the show. They want to see it develop. If I say that 80% of the matches are spot fests, I'm not wrong. It's because I'm watching the show that I know that exists. And you should be happy that I'm watching. I was at the very first Dynamite, Dan. Washington, D.C., very first one. I was there watching Darby Allin in a dark match. I was there when Cody came out to fight Sammy Guevara to start this thing. I've been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
I wasn't there, obviously, in Vegas for their 2 shows they did before they did Dynamite. But from the start of Dynamite, I was there. And I've been a fan. I bought this merch. I jumped in. I want AEW to be successful because if they're successful, wrestling is successful. We haven't had a real threat to WWE in forever. The fact that we're even talking about this is a win for AEW. But what I'm saying is going in afterwards, they still have the same problem, Dan. They still have no consistency in storylines. For one, MJF comes back as the Joker, right? Which, whatever. Had a great match going with the whole ladder match to be ruined by, quote unquote retribution coming in. NXT or what was Wade Barrett's group? Just NXT, no. What they called
Nexus.
Nexus, yeah. Basically a Nexus takeover, retribution takeover, right? They came in with the masks, destroyed everybody. Stokely comes up, gets the chip, gives it to Joker, obviously, who's MJF. Where's the consistency with that? Because when he came out by himself at the end of the show, I'm like, okay, you want to give MJF his moment. Okay. But when he starts off Dynamite by himself with none of those guys around the ring, with no technical connection to any of those people, when those people come out later and can't even finish a promo to tell people what happened, and they get interrupted by the production assistant, which then turns into them jumping that, it shows they don't have a long-term vision for their story. They don't know where they're going with this.
Well,
it's not the first time.
Well, MJF and then them, that's 2 different stories.
But it's not.
It is.
Because the whole point of this whole thing happening to begin with is because fans, not AEW, fans connected the dots between Stokely Hathaway and MJF. Fans tracked back the fact that he used to be MJF's manager, and then maybe the business card he was giving people was possibly MJF's, not Stokely's, right?
Yeah, which that's what you want the fans to do. You want them to.
But AEW's not following up on it. We haven't heard a word about why.
Well, of course, because they're keeping you waiting. They're keeping you wanting to see what happened.
Are we waiting or do we care?
I think a lot of people care because MJF's a big thing right now, and they know that a lot of people were hoping that it wasn't a thing where he's in another group like the Pinnacle. No, he just bought him out. That's he's done this the whole time with the business card, handing out business card. Hey, I want to get you to do something. I will pay you a lot of money, and that's what he do, and that's what he did.
Say that. Have Stokely be like, MJF employed our services. We took care of business. Great night. No, they couldn't even finish a sentence before the production assistant was like,
yeah, they probably will, but they probably want to milk it out a little bit. They don't want to give you everything at once.
Name one storyline, especially since Cody's left. Name one storyline in AEW that is going on more than a couple weeks. Other than the only one they have right now is the Danny Garcia, Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson one.
I couldn't name the one that I'm about to tell you.
Because that's the only one. It's the only one.
You can't pull away one of the ones.
I'm going to give them credit for that one. That is the one that I'm tuning in every week to be like, all right, where is this going? Because those 3, wherever this angle's going, and now Wheeler Yutal kind of got like dismissed. And how's that affect the Blackpool Club? Like that, to me, is like a story. But there is no other consistency. Like William Regal comes in to talk for Blackpool Club, right? And yet all he does is commentary when they're doing matches now, letting Moxley continue to cut bad promos that they say, oh my God, it's a legendary promo. It's the greatest promo ever. It's so passionate. He was stumbling over his words the whole time. Moxley's not a great promo guy. He comes out, he grunts a few things, he says something important, and goes about his business. But AEW, they let him talk too much. They could have cut that promo way shorter.
I thought the promo was good and he got right to the point, but that's just me. You don't need to be going on and on and on. He's just like, okay, boom, 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 and then he's done because
Yeah, but then he kept going on.
It didn't say much.
Every time I thought he was done, he'd come out with another few sentences.
He does what you're supposed to do. You let the crowd react. He lets the crowd react to it, and then he continues.
I felt like that promo last night was him. Like, I have 5 minutes. I'm at 3.5. He'd lean down on the ropes. He'd be like, and also this. And he'd come out and say something else. And I'm passionate for this, this, and this. And then he'd lean down on the ropes, and there'd probably somebody on the side is like, you got 2 more minutes. He'd be like, all right, I got 2 more minutes. All right. And then I'm legendary. And then they're like, all right, finally, all right, you're done. You're good. And look,
but it's good. But you also got to remember the whole Warlord thing was what 3 months, and they did a perfect job with that.
They did a good job. They do a good job once in a while. And right now, this Acclaimed with Swerve and Lee, which where was Keith Lee last night? Was he too fat to make it to the ring again? I don't know. Look, and I love Keith Lee. I know people are going to bash me for saying that, but Keith Lee has put on a lot of weight since he's got to AEW. And
I don't even think he's gotten any bigger.
You can't even see his neck now.
You couldn't see his neck before.
No, when he was in WWE, he had lost a bunch of weight.
No. He was big in WWE.
No, he had lost a bunch of weight. He came back a little bigger after his thing with COVID and stuff.
I don't want to hear that because Kevin Owens, I'll say the same thing. Kevin Owens is big.
Kevin Owens is half Keith Lee's size.
No. Kevin Owens has always been that big, and I think it's a double standard with WWE when they're like, oh, you need to work out me to be in good shape, but then you put the belt on the guy that never works out, and Kevin Owens will come out and say, I don't work out.
Yeah, but Kevin can move. Let's be real. Kevin can move. And Keith Lee can move for a long time. But now what you're seeing is him lumbering, him laboring, going like when they did the run-in.
He did a perfect job moving on Sunday.
At times, he stopped a lot. He stopped to catch his breath a lot. I sat there and watched that match twice. I love that match. But look, let's be real. Keith Lee does his stuff in like a short 2-minute burst, and he does what he does. When they did the run-in to come save the Acclaimed from the Ass Boys, Swerve was in the ring. Keith Lee was still coming down the ramp. He still hadn't gotten there yet. Look, it's no joke. Keith Lee's probably put on 50 pounds since he's gotten to AEW, and that's not me exaggerating. He's put on a lot of weight. And the truth is, Keith Lee can do what he wants with his body. I'm not body shaming. I'm not doing whatever. But I know Keith Lee at 50 pounds less than that before he had COVID and before he had all the issues in WWE, that he was moving a lot better than he is now. And I'd like to see him get healthier and get that in shape instead of just letting it kind of be a runaway train, because then the next thing you know, he's 500 pounds and trying to do what he used to do. And it just doesn't work. Like, it worked for Vader for a little while too. And then guess what? His knees went out. His back went out. Yokozuna went from like 450 to 600 pounds. Like, I just don't want to see that happening to Keith Lee, because Keith Lee is that big mobile guy that can do all these great, amazing, limitless things. I want to keep seeing that as a fan. So I'm worried about his health. That's true. But to get back on track real quick so we can get out of here, and I won't take up all of Dan's time today. The MJF angle kind of went sideways because of everything that happened with CM Punk, right? He was supposed to step up and have this big rivalry with CM Punk. You're like, where do we go now? It was kind of awkward when Jon Moxley came out and said, you're full of shit. And then all of a sudden, one sentence, not like anything like elaborating on why he's full of shit or this isn't really you or nothing. Just one sentence, all of a sudden, MJF drops the whole shtick and trashes Buffalo, right? Like, it only took one sentence for him to, like, break character, right? Come on. Like, there has to be more into this. There has to be more better. I know they let these wrestlers go out with an idea and they just cut their own.
But it's just like it's just like I said.
There has to be more scripting.
You can't give everything away right away. You gotta and that's what.
No, I'm saying, but you could at least give him a reason to break character. Not just say you're full of shit and then you're right.
But MJF, he's not one to hide, and he's upfront about it. He's like, oh, yep, you're right.
Yeah, but he could have been something like for instance, he could have been like, "What? What are you talking about? What do you mean I'm full of shit?" And then
he did.
Like, that's not the real you. No, Jon Moxley said you're full of shit, and then MJF went on another 5 to 10 minute promo. Jon Moxley did not say another word.
But no. But you got to remember what MJF said was, "Do you hear him? Am I really being shit?"
He did it to himself, though. That's what I'm saying. He cut the promo on himself.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Moxley didn't do anything.
Well, he said something right away. Like you don't have to like make a whole dialogue about it. He just boom to the point. That's what Moxley is.
Moxley was a prop. He was a prop for MJF to bounce off of, because that whole promo was MJF doing all the talking, all the acting, and all Moxley did was stand there in the middle and say, "I'm not in the mood."
And then it was basically like a transition from MJF to Moxley, because then Moxley cut his promo after he got him out of the ring.
So let me ask you what happens. MJF's back. He's the Joker. He's got the chip. Can cash it in, kind of like Money in the Bank, whenever he wants. They're doing a new tournament, probably leading to Jericho versus Moxley. If not, maybe Danielson versus Moxley, if they want to do something interesting with the blowing up the Blackpool club. Which you kind of saw the roots of last night with Wheeler Yuta kind of getting like pushing Danielson aside.
I think you see the roots of it before that.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you have kind of seen they've kind of all been doing their own thing separately anyway.
But if you look at it, not to change a little bit, but if you look at it, Danielson keeps on walking out of the heel tunnel, and he's been
doing that for a while.
So I think
he was doing that when him and Moxley first started the thing, because that's how they fought at Grand Slam.
But I look at that and I'm like, okay. And now you have the whole Garcia and Yuta, because Garcia.
Real quick before they jump on me in the comments, not Grand Slam, because I know Grand Slam was Danielson versus Omega.
Yeah.
Later. All right, please continue. I just didn't want them to bash me.
Yeah, but I think that's what it's going to be. I think it's going to be Danielson as Moxley, and they both have their guy. Of course, Moxley has Yuta, and then Danielson now has Garcia, it seems like.
Isn't it funny, because Moxley didn't even want Yuta in the group?
Yeah.
That could be a thing. That could be. But my question really is, going into the next couple of months, because this is all going to be settled in the next few weeks going into Arthur Ashe, as far as who's going to be champion.
Yeah.
What happens with MJF in the chip? Does he hold on to it for a while? Is always like, I got this, I can do it whenever I want type thing? Or does he cash it in quickly? And then what happens point of this episode, what happens when CM Punk comes back? Is he back in the title picture? Because it's kind of hard when you get elevated to that point to then go ahead and take a back seat to go back to just doing storylines with Eddie Kingston. Like, what happens with all that?
I think wind up MJF or use the chip and cash in at the pay-per-view. He said, I'm not going to waste it right away. I'm not even going to get involved in the tournament. He's going to see who's the champion, and then he's going to cash in at the pay-per-view. It's going to lead towards probably him winning.
The 2024 bidding war?
Yeah. And I think with Punk, it all depends. I could see him not coming back for for months, and then when he comes back, maybe MJF is still champion, and then they go right back to that feud. But this time, instead of Punk being the champion, MJF is the champion.
And he's chasing. But what happens with Moxley? Because here's the thing I feel bad about Jon Moxley, right? For a while, the company was on his back, right? When he took that title, he had it for like a year. Eventually, Omega took it and carried it for a long time. But Jericho was the first workhorse champion, right? Like the champion, he took it from the beginning. And then it was really like Moxley. Moxley was like the champion for a while that you knew. And then Omega. And then, of course, we had a very brief Adam Page run, which was kind of like rewarding him for what he's done for the company.
Yeah.
But that was really a transition into CM Punk. And then, of course, injuries took CM Punk out in the beginning. Moxley got another run. Injuries take CM Punk out again, along with the suspensions and the fight. If they give Moxley another run. Like, here's the thing. Like, Moxley shouldn't be a transitional champion. Like, this dude is one of the guys you're building the company on. And here's another thing. You have an opportunity in this tournament to do something unexpected. Because let's be real. Chris Jericho cut that promo the whole night last night about he's going to get his belt back. He's going to get his championship back. It's his championship. It's his locker room. And Sammy never said anything otherwise until it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna beat up Darby Allin. And oh, look at my abs. but Sammy never really got into the promo. Like he wasn't in the tournament too. Like he could very easily be Jericho versus Guevara in the finals. And then what? Do we get the finger poke of death? I don't know what's going to happen with that. But my thing is like,
but then you also have a guy.
Real quick, my thing is like they could do something great with this. What happens if Darby Allin wins this tournament? What happens if Sammy Guevara wins this tournament and becomes world champion? Then you're elevating a brand new star. And this is your opportunity to do it. You never do it before. We all know what they're going to do. And this is going to be exactly, watch what happens when this happens on Rampage. They're going to have a crazy match. Death-defying antics. We're going to sit there on social media and be like, why did they do that stupid shit? They could have killed themselves for no reason. They're going to do all these crazy things. They're going to have a train wreck of a match that's going to be spectacular. And both those guys are going to be basically too injured to continue in the tournament. And that's what's going to happen, or one of them will get ran over by Moxley the next week. But they could, Dan, make a new star. That's what I was saying. Go ahead.
Yes, but then again, who's the guy that we haven't seen MJF wrestle? Who's the guy that hasn't really been pushed yet? Bryan Danielson in AEW.
That'd be an interesting feud.
But you have him win the title, and then you have him go on into a feud with MJF, something that hasn't been done yet.
And then have Garcia feud with Jericho.
Yeah, and have Garcia feud with Jericho. That'd be a perfect thing. And then with the edge of Bryan Danielson coming out in the heel tunnel, and then him being more of a technical wrestler, and he's gotten a lot better on the mic.
I can see a lot of that. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the return of the suspensions, right?
Yeah.
So for one, the Bucks and Kenny could chase the trios title for a while, trying to get back what they kind of like Sasha and Bayley. Like they won the women's title that they built, like that division was built for them, and then they lost the titles and had to chase it back. They could do something like that. But eventually Kenny Omega is going to get healthy enough to go after that world title again. That's another guy who's going to be in that mix. You don't take steps backwards. Adam Page, I think, has been demoted somehow. He put on a good match against Bryan Danielson. He didn't get beat like dramatically. It was a roll-up pin.
I thought that was a
fantastic match.
Fantastic match. Yeah,
it didn't make Adam Page look bad by losing because it was a roll-up pin. It wasn't. It wasn't anything like he didn't get like tapped out or anything like that. It was a roll-up, and so quote unquote shit happens, right? It's nice to see a finish like that once in a while. You don't want to see it all the time, but once in a while because then it gives you the surprise factor that hey, one of these roll-ups could actually pin somebody.
Yeah.
Not when Aubrey Edwards is refereeing, but when anybody else is refereeing, one of those roll-ups could actually pin somebody. Aubrey will stop her count like midway. It's like, you're supposed to kick out. Kick out. Kick out. Like she will literally follow the script.
Let's go. I'm almost there.
Yeah. She will not deviate from the script. It won't be like, oh, they accidentally got a pin. Let's turn it around next week and get the title back. Like they won't move on from that. Like they're not built like that. WWE, one of the best things I think Vince ever did was a number of years ago, he's like, if their shoulders are down for 3, count 3. We'll figure it out later. Like we need the refs to look legit. And do they always know? Of course. I mean, it's an entertainment show. We know sometimes shit fucking happens.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if your shoulders are down for 3, the refs in WWE will count 3. Like that's what they're told to do. We'll figure it out the storylines later. We can run a rematch next week or do whatever. We can figure it out. But AEW, they stick to the script. Like if you're not supposed to win, they will stop the count. They will figure a reason. Oh, I got a cramp. I can't do something somehow. But I think what we were left with to kind of wrap this up, and I'll give you the final thought. I think what we're left with after the CM Punk bullshit is that I think Punk is bulletproof. I don't think anything's happening to him. I don't think anything. First of all, let me say nothing should happen to CM Punk. Nothing should happen to the Elite. These are grown-ass men. Like I said, Tony, sit them down at the fucking table and have them talk this shit out, and you go make money. Work this shit out. Have FTR and CM Punk go against the Elite in a trios war for like whatever version of War Games you want to put up. Make money off this, Tony. That's what Vince would have done. Vince sat there and had Edge stole Matt Hardy's girlfriend in real freaking life. And Vince turned it into an angle and made money off of it. Look, shit happens behind the scenes. Just we know about it now because everybody leaks everything and everything's known on the internet before it even. We knew before Tony Khan knew. Before Tony Khan knew, there was whispers on the internet that there was a fight between the Elite and CM Punk. We know everything happens. Work it out. Work it out. Stop being immature. Stop being like a baby and be like, oh, I just don't know when to deal with it. I'm just going to suspend him. I don't know when to. And then when CM Punk's healthy, we'll pretend it never happened because that's what they're going to do. They're going to pretend it never happened. Dan, give me your final thoughts on everything that happened, everything's going forward, and finish off the show strong.
I think it's great that they turned a bad situation into something good where you got a lot of young talent that was getting ring time and they're getting recognition, and you might be able to build a couple extra stars.
Talking about Dynamite and Hole?
Yeah, out of it. You might be able to build a couple stars out of it. I'm in the opposite spectrum. I think suspend them. They deserve it. I think with CM Punk, I would have fired him. I don't care who he is. He's not a man that's bigger than the show. The show is bigger than who's on it, and it should be like that. They're there to work for the show, not the show's there to work for the person. But you know what? If they bring him back, they bring him back. Hopefully he apologizes and he talks to all the talent, and then it's going to be a while because you see him with Cody with the torn pec. That injury will last a while. But maybe you do turn something into that. Maybe he comes back and then he feuds with Hangman again because of the stuff that he said. You turn a real life thing into a storyline. Maybe that happens, and I'd be all about it. But it's like just look at your buddy Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston turned his suspension into something good, and maybe he could do the same thing. I know he's not going to because he has too big of an ego, but Eddie Kingston can have an ego, but at least he is being enough to admit when he's wrong. So that's where I'll leave it at that.
My final thought, how apropos was Cody's last promo in AEW with the ladder and everything else when he talked about CM Punk's pipe bomb. Just look at that promo. It's circulating the internet. Check that out. Leave a comment. Look, this is an explosive topic. It's going to be talked about for the next couple of weeks all over the internet. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see further going on. Next week, we're going to be back to talk about Triple H and the direction that WWE is taking and the evolution that it's all of a sudden changed gears and how much it's just instantly changed overnight. So we'll talk about that, the atmosphere of Triple H and WWE next week. But for this week, he's Dan Bakley. I'm Mike Ginn. This is Slamtown. Leave a comment, get in the conversation, let us know what you love, what you like. Check out our merch on fightersfirst.shop. Buy it, buy it, buy it. Just like Danhausen. I love the monies. And Dan gets some too, so check it out. All right, this is Slamtown, and we're out.